So this week, I'm just going to spend like 30 minutes talking about an obscure comic run from the 90s that I read this week that I really hated. Because that's what a vlog is where you talk about a comic run that wasn't very good. So I'm a big fan of the superhero Animal Man. I think Grant Morrison's Animal Man run is a good contender for the greatest comic run ever written. This isn't a hot take. Everyone fucking loves Animal Man. It's a great run. It's a great run. But did you know that other people besides Grant Morrison exist and have written Animal Man comics in the years since Morrison left? Yeah. Yeah. It is interesting, though, that um, no one ever acknowledges the things that happened in the non-Morrison Animal Man comics. Like, you read like fucking 52. Great series. Also written by Grant Morrison. And you'll notice that despite Grant Morrison being this big fucking continuity fan and like, ooh, everything's canon and everything matters. Hey Morrison, why is in this story you wrote Animal Man back to the status quo from the end of your series as if the past 20 odd years haven't happened? Like, you just ignored everything from all the other writers who had worked on Animal Man and turned it back to the status quo from the end of your series, which, fair enough, that's the good status quo, and fair enough, you're the only really good Animal Man writer, Morrison. You did the best job, I'll give you that. Oh, Swords Dance, yeah, sure. But like, okay, so I'm going to go through the different runs of the character Animal Man. There's the Silver Age run, which was only like 4 different issues in various anthology books, and I haven't read that. I don't know. I assume they're fine, but kind of their era. The like pre-Morrison Animal Man stuff. That, sure, why not? So there's that. And then we get Morrison, which is a masterpiece. And I forgot that I had that thing on. No, my thingamajig, my thing that was gonna make it really easy to fight against Sabrina died because I didn't think, I can take a counter. I'll just smack it and it'll be left with 1 health. And now I gotta go bury after doing all that training on my scissor. And now I don't really have a good counter for Sabrina, so I'm just going to have to treat this like an actual fight. That's fun. And I think if I actually thought I could remember how this gym is laid out, but it's quicker to just try random stuff, I think one of these goes, yes. So time to go bury my scissor right after I got it. So anyway, Morrison's run. Morrison's run is incredible. I love Grant Morrison's Animal Man run. And there are a lot of things I love about it. Yes, the meta stuff and the journey through Limbo and meeting with Grant Morrison at the end are incredible. It's a great run. I like all that meta stuff. That is not the only reason Animal Man is good. And like other later writers don't do the meta stuff. So we need to talk about the fact that Grant Morrison's run would have been good even without the meta stuff. Because I really like how Grant Morrison characterizes Buddy Baker, like Animal Man, as like this down on his luck superhero. He's like D-list and he knows it, and he's just trying to get by and be this fucking working class, clock in, clock out superhero. And he's also trying to balance that with his family, and he has this great supporting cast, this wonderful family of this wife and kids who are really well developed characters, and I really enjoy them, and they have a great relationship. They have issues, but they really care each other, and like it's just this really strong relationship. So we've got this. Oh, and 2 of my Pokemon are technically over leveled. So we've got this. Oh, that's a cool one. We've got this down on his luck loser superhero, and also he's like an animal rights activist. He's a big like people are mistreating animals. We need better conditions. I hate fucking factory farming. I hate like fox hunts. Like, and he cares about the world and more stuff than just being a superhero. He has like issues that are important to him that he focuses on beyond that. And like there's this tension between him trying to be this traditional superhero and him also trying to like be an animal rights activist, and like sometimes that comes in tension. Like there's an issue where he quits the Justice League after some people he's working with accidentally kill someone, and he feels guilt over it. He's like balancing these different stuff. He's trying to save the world and be a better superhero and care about animals, and also he's trying to be a superhero. And I need to go dig up a corpse so I can fly with it, or I'll just do unknown. Like, he's a down on his luck superhero, he's an activist, and he's got the meta stuff, and he's got this family. There's a lot of pieces to Animal Man as a character, and people only focus on the end of Morrison's run, on the meta stuff, which admittedly is really good. I love the meta stuff from Animal Man, but it's important to remember there's other important stuff, there's other good things to the character. So Grant Morrison writes this incredible run and then leaves, and then it gets handed over to... Is it Milligan? Is Milligan the next one? I think the next writer was named Milligan. Was it Peter? I'm bad with some of the names of these runs. We get the Milligan run, which is like 6 issues, and like Animal Man gets teleported to an alternate universe where his wife hates him and he dies, and there's weird superheroes, and this one is fine. I don't think it's great by any means, that first Animal Man run after Morrison left, but it's not bad. It's got some interesting ideas. It's at least interesting. It's weird and it's interesting. I think it's probably the 4th place of the Animal Man runs that I've read. I haven't read the New 52 stuff, but whatever. After that, Animal Man gets back to his own universe. There's a tendency to reset the status quo in some of these Animal Man runs and just ignore what was going on with the other writers, and that's whatever. Do I have repels? Because I want to get a Zapdos. Or not a Zapdos specifically, but whatever Pokemon has Zapdos' base stat total. So anyway, after that we get the Vate run, and I like the Vate. Is it Vate or Vate? I don't fucking know how that's supposed to be pronounced. And a lot of people hate this one. I actually kind of like the Vate run. It's a mess. It pales in comparison to Morrison's run, and it spends a lot of time on just undoing things from Morrison run and gives Animal Man a completely new pointless backstory after Morrison gave a completely new pointless backstory. Animal Man's up there with Hawkman and Donna Troy in the DC characters with complicated backstories, but no one cares because I'm the only person on the planet who cares about Animal Man. Wait, no. Shit. Actually, that's fine. But I didn't think, wait a minute, I'm not going to be running into Zapdos because I just accidentally ran into the Executor. Okay, well, this will. And it's just all over the place. There's a lot of good individual issues in the Vate run, but it is all over the place, and I don't really care for the new backstory. But in comparison to the other runs, I do like at least it's building to something. It's this big building to this big final battle against this monster named Antagon, and Antagon's a kind of flat character, not the greatest villain, but they do some interesting stuff, and it's at least interesting. Like Antagon's a generic doomsday villain with like cheesy like mwahaha, I'm the evil and the darkness and the heart of man and violence and chaos and blah blah blah, and then like possesses Wanna Beast, and then he dies and it gets possessed by another Animal Man villain. And Antagon's fine and interesting. I think there's some good ideas that a good writer, you should hire me to write Animal Man. There's some good ideas that an Animal Man writer could do with Antagon as this like force of ultimate evil. But yeah, I do like it. It's fine. You know, the Vate run is fine, and I do like that it ends with this nice. It ends with Animal Man getting through his relationship stuff with his wife that he's been having, and his issues with his powers that he's been having. And see, I could have had a fucking Deoxys, and instead I have a Executor, which is worse. Zap Cannon, that's bad. Okay, and I one-shot it. I killed Deoxys. It's probably for the best. That would have been unbalanced. But anyway, I like that just in comparison to what comes later, that the Fate Animal Man run, he's still he's a superhero, and it ends with him fighting this villain and saving the world and just having a good relationship with his family and getting over the issues he had in this arc. It's fine. And then we get Delano's arc, and I fucking hate Delano's arc. Delano's run, that's the subject of this. Delano's run. So it begins with Animal Man being hit by a car and killed, and then he has to dig his way back, like by possessing animals, force himself back from the dead to be with his family. And actually, I'm gonna be honest, not bad. I like the first couple issues of Delano's arc. I think it sets up this interesting idea, and it kind of fumbles it, like, because while Animal Man is finding his way back from the dead, like, his son has been kidnapped by, like, his evil uncle, who is, like, just teaching him to be evil and eventually tries to murder Cliff, and that's, like, fucked up. And, like, but he saves Cliff, but it ended up feeling kind of anticlimactic. But sure, Animal Man's come back from the dead. He's more in touch with his powers now. Where's this gonna go? What's gonna happen now? Stuff is going to happen. We're going to get an arc where he meets this woman named Annie, who summons, like, a Leviathan monster to, like, destroy the world because her daughter is dying of leukemia because of the factory up the river from them. And then the monster just kind of goes away and is never mentioned again. And then they're gonna go live with Animal Man on his compound in Vermont. And actually, I skipped it. There was a mini arc where Ellen goes to the city and almost gets raped because it's the 90s, and, like, hangs out with some lesbians and they become friends, and, like, okay, sure, why not? But yeah, so we get Ellen almost gets raped arc, and, like, Buddy doesn't really save her, but okay, she has her own arc on her own. And then we get the Leviathan and meeting Annie, and they come to stay at the compound. And then Buddy Buddy talks to his mother-in-law, and he meets God, which is a bunch of furry dudes who live in the woods. And then he decides he's going to build an ark, and Maxine summons a bunch of animals to be in their ark. Okay. And then the animals kill each other. And then Maxine... Well, first off, then we get a fucking Ruby Ridge type scenario where the cops, like, storm the compound, but no one dies, except Maxine does die. So what happens is there was a crossover where a bunch of children got kidnapped, and how they had this is that Maxine goes off to this, like, Neverland place. She's lured there by this Alice in Wonderland rabbit. So she goes to this like, this children world, and she doesn't want her parents to miss her, so she uses her animal bred powers to make a fake Maxine out of energy and shit that doesn't have any intelligence and is just a feral animal. And fake Maxine goes out into the woods and freezes to death in the winter, and Ellen, like, has a fucking breakdown, and Buddy has a fucking breakdown, and Buddy turns into a demon monster again. By the way, he was a demon monster for a couple issues after he came back from the dead. Buddy goes into a demon and, like, decides he's going to destroy America. And then Maxine comes back, and Buddy gets captured by the government. And then they just let him go. And the things they happen, and then, like, Animal Man decides that he's going to start a religion, and they move to Montana to have a religion, and Cliff gets shot, and people are really like, oh, Cliff got shot, that's okay. People don't really react how you'd expect them to react. I'm going to make Hitmonlee my new team member. Actually, no, I'll check the other ones first. So, like, I'm just rambling, but it's like, it's just a bunch of shit happens. And, let me think. What happens? So Animal Man, he goes to... I got to read some comments, so I'm just going to finish this as I walk around. So Animal Man goes to open Animal Man goes to form a cult in Montana with Maxine as like this Jesus figure because she came back from the dead, and the government sends an assassin to kill him, and like Cliff gets shot, and no one really reacts how you'd expect them to act, and it's like, oh, Cliff, we can't take you to the hospital for this bullet in your leg because, you know, them people will shut down our cult we have out in the woods because the kids are getting shot. So you're just going to chill here and, okay, yeah, I'm okay with this for the movement, okay. And then the government assassin, like, shoots Animal Man with rabies, and he dies, and that makes everyone have an orgy, and that is how the Delano run ends. And I fucking hate the Delano run. I think it's the worst comic run I've ever read. I just hated it. It was everything I liked about Animal Man just, like, taken away and made just dog shit. And just, what, like, so, like, there's letters pages in the trade that I read this from. I read from the trade, and then... So there's the letters pages at the end, and in that final issue where Delano ends the series, he's like, what, you expected Animal Man to, like, save the world and, like, make the place better for animal welfare? That's unrealistic and dumb. This isn't a comic book. No, the only real thing to do is to kill yourself because everything is pointless, and that's why Animal Man was okay with dying, because, like, everything's pointless, and you can't help anyone, and it's pointless to try and be a superhero because the world sucks, and I'm so smart and cool and mature with this edgy tale where Animal Man dies of rabies, and that makes everyone have an orgy at the end of my book. And I'm just saying here, like, okay, when did this stop being what I was reading? Because, like, I enjoyed what I was reading. I enjoyed Morrison's run. I enjoyed the two after Morrison. The two after Morrison's, although they weren't very even close to as good, because at least they were fucking superheroes. At least Animal Man felt like Animal Man and wasn't this big fucking bird demon who dies of rabies, and that makes everyone have an orgy, and this is a good thing because trying to help people or make the world better is pointless because it's just all like, whatever, man. It's just, like, so dark and you can't do anything and you should just give up. And, like, Animal Man gives up and dies of rabies. And I fucking hate how that ends with this stupid fucking ending. Where Animal Man dies of rabies and cause everyone to have an orgy. And, like, the Delano run is, like, 30 issues. It goes on for so long, but it's just constantly spinning its wheels. It's longer than the Morrison run. And it always just feels like, oh, okay, that's happening now. Okay, cool. Like, it never feels like, it just feels like random shit happening. And it drags out everything for so long. And Animal Man's not a fucking superhero. And, like, his relationship's falling apart. He's barely talking to Ellen. She leaves for a few months. He starts dating Annie, and he knocks her up, and that's cool. Like, Animal Man's whole thing is that he's got this really close family that that he loves, and, like, lost everything in Morrison's run when they died, and then got them back, which was just this beautiful, heartwarming ending. Except, actually, no, that family's gonna fall apart because they've just been through so much trauma and shit. And also, Animal Man barely gives a shit when his son gets shot. That's cool. That Animal Man doesn't really love his son very much. Cares about his fucking stupid fucking cult that he's forming in Montana more than his son. That's awesome. I love this. And it's just, like, there's so much stuff that happens in this run that you haven't run. I've never even heard anyone fucking talk about this shitty fucking run. There's so much shit that happens that just goes nowhere. Like, I'm thinking, how do I phrase it? Annie summoned the Leviathan that's gonna destroy the world, and it just swam away because it gave up. Animal Man's gonna build an Animal Man. I've got a cold, and it's getting worse. I'm like shit. I'm like getting these pains and coughs as I complain about this arc. Animal Man's gonna build an ark. Never mind, they're all dead. Maxine's dead. Never mind, that was fake. Animal Man's gonna destroy the U.S. Never mind. He changed his mind because Maxine's still alive. Animal Man's been captured. Never mind, they just let him go. Animal Man's gonna form a cult. Never mind, he dies of rabies and everyone has an orgy. Like, it's just, like, constant anticlimax after anticlimax, and it's not a fucking superhero story. And I don't like the protagonist anymore because he's become this preachy fucking birdhead demon who doesn't care about his family anymore.
I just, I just, I fucking hate that run so much. It's the worst run I've ever read of a comic, and people are like, oh, this is even better than Morrison's. This is like the true good Animal Man run, the run where he stops being a superhero and his marriage falls apart and he opens a cult and then he dies of rabies. Like, that's the great Animal Man run. And like, is it really? Because I did not care for it. I'm going to be honest, I did not care for that run. And I just I've got such a cough from like talking about this. Like, and then after that there was the Procer arc, which everyone hates, and I agree, it was just too weird and confusing and like storybook and like constant rambling about philosophy. But at least it's a complete story where it's like, at least it's a beginning, middle, and end, where like this fucking spider demon tries to kidnap Animal Man's daughter so she can take over the world, and Animal Man stops her. Like, it's not good, but something. It's him caring about his children, which he stopped doing when he died and abandoned his family. Also, like, one arc ends with Animal Man dying, and then the next issue he's immediately back from the dead because they acknowledge, oh, that was a stupid fucking choice. Oh god, I'm coughing. I hate it. And anyway, after that, I read The Last Days of Animal Man, which was his last pre-New 52 run. It was an Elseworld story taking place 20 years in the future, and it was pretty good. It's about Animal Man losing his powers and trying to balance, what am I going to do if I'm not a superhero? And it's really good. It's not as good as Morrison, but it felt like Buddy Baker, which is something that I hadn't had for 40 issues, so I'll take it. So, like, Animal Man, like, the Procer arc ends. Animal Man's a dad now. He has another daughter who is never going to be mentioned again because no one is going to touch the Delano Vertigo run with a 20-foot pole because it was terrible. Okay, and now I need to read all those comics. Comments. I had a cold this week. First off, here's my schedule. Show that once a week, how things are going. And then my comments. Candy John's arc reminds me of Stanford Pines' cosmic struggles against Bill Cipher prior to getting sucked into the portal and having this warped and twisted view of what does and doesn't matter, just like John. Both arcs end with them coming to realize other people matter too. Well, unfortunately, John's backslid a bit. Of Jake's death in Game Over because it really exemplifies his prescriptive relationship to heroism. He's better at the over-the-top movie heroism rather than the bravery it takes to have a hard conversation with someone you care about. And his story makes it clear that the latter is more important. His sacrifice is sweet, but it comes too late. The clock rules, his death heroic, but he had already missed his many chances to truly do so. I agree. Like, yeah, Jake's a failed hero. That's kind of the point of that video. Of course, this had to end in Double Death of the Author, the fan adventure that rejects the original comics themes of leaving the story unresolved is the only way to win. Yeah, and also the themes of being well written. For actually, let's solve every interpersonal issue the characters had in order to win, and also be obnoxious and just a terrible thing to read together. I really don't like Double Death of the Author, but Double Death of the Author is the Veitch run equivalent. Like, that's like what it is. It isn't even, to be clear, Double Death of the Author isn't anywhere worse than that. I don't know why. I'm just rambling today. Double Death of the Author as an interpersonal issue. Double Death of the Author is the anti-epilogue because it's a story where they couldn't happen. It's in a story where the characters have actually ended all their character arcs. The epilogues couldn't happen. And also the epilogues couldn't happen in a story written that wasn't very good. I'm just being really harsh of Double Death of the Author, but the epilogues are so much better than Double Death of the Author. Like, it's not, the epilogues are so good, and Double Death of the Author exists. And I'm not going to do Blaine. I'm going to go do the Seafoam Islands first and train up my new Hitmonlee. I'm always afraid to tell people my favorite Homestuck character is Jake English because I relate to him, LMFAO. I know people see him as stupid and incompetent, but he is technically smart. Like, the guy builds robots and spaceships, literal rocket science, and I mean kind of, but not in the original story. But he's so utterly incompetent when it comes to social interaction or anything that involves other people. We talked to Tavros about thinking he should be alone on an island far away from people. It's because he's so socially inept. I actually cry because I've had that exact thought before. I'm autistic, and I actually Think Jake is autistic is really kind of enhances his character, at least to me. I'm so sorry. Hold on. Goddamn cold flu season. Well, anyway, there's that comic about Jake being funny autistic guy. I'm dying right now from this cough. And finally, man, it's so sad that Woku and Transhit had to fight each other in the Tournament of Power instead of becoming friends. I agree. That's a tragedy. I'm gonna go throw up now.